Dear friends, as many of you are worried about the situation in Ukraine and are asking me in private messages about what's going on, I decided to record this short video with explanation from on the ground, so to speak. Although I am located in Lviv, which is far away from Donbas region, and we are accustomed to think about the zone of war in Ukraine in the east, and it's 800-900 kilometers from here. But as you all know, over the last night, over the last 10 hours or so, there have been development, very unfortunate one, with Russian troops attacking Ukraine from all the sides, basically, from Crimea, from the east, from north, and even from the territory of Belarus. That has been basically occupied, annexed by Russia with the consent of its dictator Lukashenko, who is not really elected president, but someone who usurped power in Belarus. So we are in a very dire situation, obviously, and what is going on here? As all of you who follow the situation probably know, the situation has been escalating over the past several months, and there have been many warnings about the imminent invasion of Russian troops. Some people were viewing these warnings with suspicion, or sometimes even sarcastically, that it's just panic, but unfortunately it happened this night. There were signs that pointed to really imminent invasion over the past 24 hours or a little bit more, starting with this address to the nation that President Putin delivered the day before yesterday, and this was like extremely hostile towards Ukraine. Basically what he said is that Ukraine has no right to exist, it's no country, it's no nation, it's just part of Russia, and basically he will not put up any longer with the existence of independent state of Ukraine. And after that it was very clear that he will invade sooner or later, but there were just questions about the scale of that invasion, and honestly many people, many political, military experts, and just general public believed that there will be probably a smaller scale invasion from Donbas, probably pushing the borders of those self-proclaimed republics a little bit to the west. But unfortunately he has chosen, as we can see today, the most radical scenario, the most bloody scenario, invading Ukraine. So basically we woke up in the morning with this terrible news coming from all over, that many cities have been bombed, not by warplanes, but I should say shelled by rockets. The targets were primarily military and even civil infrastructure, but we have already several reports from Kharkiv, a northeastern city on the border with Russia, a large city of several million people, that some living quarters, some residential areas were hit by one of the worst type of Russian rockets that actually damaged people's houses, and probably people were killed. We don't have exact number of human casualties at the moment. If you look at the map that is being spread all over the media today, it's pretty clear that the whole territory of Ukraine has been attacked, especially by these missile strikes, but also warplanes are at work. There are tanks invading our territory, and ground troops. As I said, they are advancing from various sites, but if you look at that map, you can see that some strikes were made deep into the territory of Ukraine, even to the west. for example, the city of Ivano-Frankivsk, that is 100 kilometers from here, from Lviv, to the southwest, and there is an airport there, and there was a missile strike at that airport. These attacks are targeted, are designed to sow panic in Ukrainian society, to basically to kill the spirit of people, to present a picture that the whole Ukraine is under the umbrella of Putin's aggression, but we don't buy it. On the ground, it's not so. Yes, there were these particular strikes. They probably killed some people. Again, we don't know exactly the number of casualties. Generally, we are speaking certainly about 40 to 50 soldiers at that moment, and some civilians, probably by dozens, but we don't know exactly at this point. I don't want to exaggerate or to artificially diminish the number of victims. I cannot claim exact number. But what is the fact today is that Ukraine is not scared. Ukrainian people are not scared. People are behaving rather peacefully, rather in an organized manner. There is no panic, there is no vandalism or like blind escapes from the cities to who knows where. Yes, there is evacuation. There are huge lines of cars, generally heading westward from Kyiv, the capital, and other cities. But it's not a panic. It's not uncontrolled situation. And also, what I should say is that the spirit of people is rather high, is rather decisive to fight the aggression, and our army is not weak. Obviously, you all are scared in the West of Western military power, and rightly so. It's a country with nuclear weapons and big military power. But nonetheless, Ukrainian army is putting serious resistance on the way of Russian troops. So far, there are reports about 7 warplanes being shot down, Russian warplanes, about probably dozen or so of tanks and armored vehicles, and that this invasion that was planned as a jump, a very rapid expansion, is not so rapid actually, and it's advancing. It's too early to say anything definitive about the situation, but what we can say is the army is fighting, is holding the ground. People behind the backs of the soldiers are supporting them, are sending support to the front lines. People are organizing horizontally. There is a lot of self-defense movement going on, and we are generally safe, if you can say that word in this context, meaning that there is no total shelling of Ukrainian cities. There is no fighting on the streets of the cities all over Ukraine. There are no tanks at the gate of every city in Ukraine. Yes, there are some intensive zones of intensive fighting, but generally the situation is still under control, and we really hope that we can hold the ground for the time when the civilized world mobilizes, not to fight for Ukraine physically, not to send soldiers from Spain, Netherlands, the United States to Ukraine, but to support Ukraine strongly in the ways that are acceptable for the NATO countries, for the EU countries, for the United States, but still to support it strongly and to stop this aggression as soon as possible. We are not afraid, we are optimistic, we are filled with the spirit of resistance and firmness, and we ask from you, friends, to spread the news. I will be putting probably more videos on my YouTube channel. There are plenty of YouTube channels from Ukraine, maybe not so many in English, but there will be more and more. So please spread the information from Ukrainian sources. Don't buy information from Russian sources. There are very few media, if any, in Russia that are not controlled by the government and that are not spreading militaristic propaganda. Mostly Russian media are not trustworthy, although there are some bloggers and so on, obviously telling truth, but they are few. So please share the information, keep calm. If you can support Ukraine, write into your institutions, to your authorities, protesting on the streets of your cities, raising some kind of support for Ukraine. This will be greatly appreciated, and remember that we are not fighting here only for Ukraine. Putin will not stop at the borders of Ukraine. Putin will not stop at the borders of EU or NATO countries. There is already open talk in Russian media, propaganda, and even from the mouths of Russian officials about invading the Baltic countries, threats to Poland, threats to some other countries of the EU, and this will not stop with Ukraine. So please understand that protecting Ukraine, you are protecting Europe. Thank you very much, and please share this video with as many people as possible if you find this useful and relevant. Thank you very much.